Now, for more on the situation on the ground, we are reaching out to two people, a mother and a daughter, who are deeply connected to the fight for Ukraine. Lina Klebanova has been a journalist in Ukraine for over 20 years, but her work turned towards activism 8 years ago when fighting began in Crimea and the Donbass. She joins us in Kyiv, and her daughter, Dinka Kayare, is a content creator who is managing fundraising efforts and helping to coordinate supplies from Tel Aviv in Israel. So thank you for joining us, to the two of you. Lina, I want to begin with you because we are going to talk about your own efforts to help Ukraine in this moment. But I actually want to begin with the town of Bucha. You have a home in that town. In fact, you had considered sheltering there when the invasion began. But I'm wondering, what goes through your mind now when you see the images that started coming out this weekend out of Bucha and the aftermath and the destruction there?
You know, now situation in Bucha, we called with our neighbors because we were there from the beginning, and 25 of February, last day when we were there in Bucha. We go to Kyiv and began to help volunteers in territorial defense. And our neighbors stayed there. So our house not destroyed at all, just a little bit. But the main thing that our neighbors, they live, and with difficult psychology condition, with shock, of course, but they live, and that's the main things in this case.
So your
and for me, of course, that's very valuable. And streets, which I know very well. And now they looks like wow, and a lot of people there, which we knew, they're not allowed.
So your neighbors are alive, which is good news. But you know, Dinka, let me bring you in now, because you know, Dinka, as we see these images out of Bucha, they are horrific. And of course, as you know, reports of multiple bodies being found abandoned on the streets, Ukrainians killed allegedly at the hands of the Russian military. How are you reacting to the images that you've seen?
I have never imagined that something like this could ever happen in a neighborhood like Bucha. Bucha is the suburb, right about 30 minutes away from Kiev. It's pretty much like the equivalent of one of the suburbs that you'll find in San Francisco or any other place, really. And when I saw the images for the first time, I was absolutely devastated. I think I can speak for both me and my mother. We've both couldn't really speak or talk to one another for a whole day because we really had to process it. And it is horrifying. Like, there is no other words to describe it. We've seen the same images back in World War II. And as Jews, we've seen it happen to our families, and now seeing it happening to our loved ones once again, it is just heartbreaking beyond belief.
And you know, one thing which I can tell from the beginning of this time, we tried to help people there in Bucha or another territory and send them medicines, meals, and so on. And the main things which they asked, it was food for children, meal for children special. And because in Bucha was a lot of young families and a lot of children before. And yesterday, I asked them, okay, guys, what I have to bring you now, what you need? They said medicine, yes. By meat for children, no, because we don't have children now here, you know?
So, you know, Dinka, what's your reaction then when you hear Russian officials deny the images and say these are fake images created for Ukrainian propaganda?
It is, first of all, it's shocking. Like, it's not shocking because the propaganda has been working there for the past 20 years. They have deliberately, slowly but surely have been pretty much brainwashing the entire nation. Luckily, I still have family there that is practically sane, but the rest of them are completely gone. And the officials are using that to basically manipulate the media and make us look like the aggressors, basically victim blaming us for all the atrocities that they have been planning methodically for the past several years. When I see what they say, the first thing that comes to my mind is they can't be serious. Like, there's no way someone will believe this. Like, obviously, people can tell that this is a lie. And on one end, you can see it, right? That people can actually read through the lies because luckily we have free access to, news and media all over the world. But there are places where it doesn't happen, where the governments basically control the media and they have no access to such information. And that is basically the online battle that I'm personally dealing with, trying to basically fight the fake news and all these ridiculous allegations that they've been just throwing at us. Just yesterday, for example, they have claimed that the residents of Bucha are the aggressors, and they are the reason why the entire town has been massacred. Like, there are no words. This is just cynicism and evil. That's the only way I can describe this.
Now, Lina, you are a journalist by profession, as we said, but since this war began, you've actually been making supplies for Ukrainian fighters. Tell us about what you're doing and why you decided to do it, Lina.
Because at the beginning it happened, and it was so quickly that we understand that now that's not just a problem for one region like it was with Donbass before in 2014. Now that for the whole country, and government ask civilians come to the help, and all our boys and husbands, they go take a gun in their arms and began to make something to protect their cities. And in this case, of course, we need a lot of things for help them. First of all, when that begins, we understood that we don't have enough even something to wearing to them, or body armor, or cask, shlem for protection, and it's impossible organize it very quickly by the government way, because we don't have time, we don't have money, we don't have big organization system to organize these things. 2,100 civilians come to this war, not just Ukrainian army, and where we have to take everything like that. And that's why we began speak with big funds and organization, try to find something outside, try to organize something on place. And first of all, it was with transportation and organization migrants process, because we have to make evacuation for children and women, what we can. And second, that's help to our boys who began in really fighting on the first line.
Yeah.
And that's things and medicine, because we don't have tactical medicine here.
So getting supplies, as you say, and in this case as well, creating homemade bulletproof vests. As Canadians hear your story, and now see the images coming out of Bucha, I actually want to give both of you, very quickly if you will, just some final thoughts. What do you want Canadians to know right now? Lina, I'll begin with you.
Canadians should know that that's not a local conflict. That's really a world conflict. That's big conflict civilization conflict between animals, barbaries, authorities, between big black system and between white war. And that's why we need help like part of this normal civilization. And in this case, that's not question of just interesting picture on the TV. That's question of living and continue living, and in way, civilization way which we prefer.
Dinka, very quickly to you, the message you want to send to Canadians.
It's really important to keep in mind that if you'd like to know the real news and everything that really goes on, you need to stick to local media and investigative journalists that are working currently like right there, and keeping away from propaganda, sharing the truth as much as possible, and obviously help as much as you can with humanitarian aid and to people like us who are just trying to survive through this horrors and basically defend all of our neighbors across Europe.
Lina, Dinka, thank you for this. Appreciate the time for the two of you.
Thank you.